What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. Today I wanted to just kind of talk to you guys about a couple of things. A lot of people have had some questions and concerns, and I just wanted to, instead of typing it out on every comment, because a lot of people have commented on it, I just wanted to explain to you guys why I'm doing a few things and why I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it. So first, in my last video, I did mention that I was feeling under the weather, and a lot of you were pretty concerned, afraid that it was the Rona virus, and it's definitely not. And some people said something about, like, you know, my trip to Mexico and stuff. I actually had to be tested in order to come back, which was not that long ago. And then some people mentioned shortness of breath, which my mom also did too, which we were laughing. We thought it was funny. And even now that I'm paying attention to it, I feel like my breath is a little short. But that's because same thing as yesterday. Just got back from the gym. I'm probably still a little bit red because we did leg day. It was a very hard workout. And same thing as the other day. I had just gotten back from the gym and was kind of running around. And same thing today. I've been kind of running around here, just looking at stuff. And it also kind of makes you winded when you talk a lot. And when I did that intro to my last video, I did that, I think, 3 or 4 times. And so I was already just winded from talking so much. And I still kind of feel like my voice sounds a little bit like I'm sick, but every year around this time, I usually get a cold. So I've been taking Dayquil, NyQuil, and I've been perfectly fine. I feel pretty much almost 100% now, and I'm pretty sure it's just a cold. So don't worry, guys. It's not anything crazy. I was able to go to the gym, work out really hard. I'm ready to jump into this. I feel not 100%, but I feel pretty close. So just wanted to tell you guys, totally fine. Now, a lot of people have asked why I pulled the rubber up off of the plywood. If I'm just going to take the plywood up too, why not leave the rubber on? Well, the plywood is screwed down to the actual bus, and then they put the rubber on top of that. So it's not necessarily possible to take up the plywood if the rubber is still on it. That's why in every bus build video, if they are taking up the plywood off the floor, they have to remove the rubber first. So there's that. And then a lot of people have said, like, why not leave the rubber on it? It's great moisture barrier, sound deadener, you know, why not just leave it how it is? Now, the reason why I'm not leaving the rubber on there is because I'm taking up the plywood. The reason why I wanted to take up the plywood is because I want to get down to the metal flooring, all the way down to the bones. And I want to make sure that there's no rust, and any rust that is on, I'm sure there will be rust. So any rust that's on the metal floor, I'm going to sand it down, try and get as much rust off as possible. And then I have some Rust-Oleum paint that I'm actually sitting on. And I'm going to be painting the bottom of the bus, then putting the floor back on there. So this plywood is not in bad shape. And with the prices of wood right now, it might be smart for me to reuse it. I'm not sure that I will, though, to be completely honest. It really just depends on what it looks like. It looks like this has had some water damage, just a little bit here and there. So I'm not sure. I'm going to take it out and see what we're working with. You know, maybe I can sand it down and we'll see. I don't know. So there's that option. And also another reason why I didn't want to just leave the rubber on top and, like, keep this flooring, aside from wanting to get the rust out, is I want to insulate it. So I want to insulate it while still saving some headspace, I guess. So I wanted to do it right. And I also need to go down, once I have the plywood up, I need to go through, and where all of the chairs were bolted down, I need to plug those holes. So there's a lot of reasons why I took up the rubber, took up the plywood, in order to really make sure that the bus is ready and sealed, no rust, and no holes. As far as taking the heater out, the way that we connected it may not be the best. We'll see if it works. More than likely, I'll redo that looping it back into itself, I'll redo that and like make sure that it's set before I take this on the road anywhere, which will probably be maybe, I'm thinking about taking the bus to Dallas for a trip at the end of May, so we'll see. And then I may possibly be going on another trip in June, so in the bus, so we'll see how that goes. But as far as the AC and heater go, a lot of people have asked, you know, why are you taking the AC and heater out? What are you gonna do? It's gonna be hot in the summer, it's gonna be cold in the winter. Are you crazy? What are you gonna do? So here's the deal. The people we bought the bus from had already taken out the AC. It didn't come with an AC. And they told me that they already disconnected the AC and heat all the way around. So there's not even AC and heat in the bus itself in general. So I don't know if that's something that maybe me and my brother can figure out, just to have AC and heat like coming out of the front, like for when I'm driving. It does have that fan, but huge shout out and thank you to my older brother. I think someone thought that was Levi. It wasn't. That's my older brother, Adam. Levi is the one with the channel too. But I mean, what I'm gonna do about AC and heat is, one, I'm going to have another diesel heater in the bus like I did in the van. The diesel heater was such an amazing investment, and I bought a cheap Chinese diesel heater and it worked amazing, and it was definitely a lifesaver in the van. When we had that crazy winter storm that blew through like in Texas, we kind of got a little bit of it here in Nashville, and I was in the van. I was living in the van. I wasn't staying in my mom's house yet with the cats, and we stayed very toasty and warm. So that diesel heater was definitely a great investment. So I'm going to have a diesel heater in here. And then I'm also going to add a max fan, a max air fan, in the bus as well. Plus, I'm also going to have a mini split unit. The mini split unit will be something that I do not run all the time, but I do have it on the times where it may be, you know, I'll probably more use it for AC in the summer during those times that it's just a little too hot and I need that extra AC air. So those are going to be my, I guess, the route that I'm going to go for AC and heat. So I'm not going to be too concerned about the fact that the bus itself doesn't have AC and heat, or that I took out the AC and heater. So I'll be set for that. I guess the last thing that I wanted to talk about for this particular video is, I mentioned before I wanted to take the windows out and reseal them, which meant that I could get this metal off of here instead of having to cut it off. What I think I'm actually going to do, it has rained and rained and rained so many times since I've had this bus, and I have no leaks. Thank God. So I'm not going to take the windows out. I think they're good for now. I mean, there's no leaks. It's not broke, so I'm not going to try and fix it. So what I'm going to attempt to do, and obviously I'm not going to do this necessarily anytime soon, but I'm going to take these the metal wall pieces and try and bend them up, then put the insulation behind that, screw them back to the wall and just clean them, and then go over that with whatever wood I'm going to be using for the walls. So that way I don't have to necessarily deal with trying to cut them off with the grinder and having to deal with any of that. I think that would be just the easiest way to go, and probably be less work on my end and more, I guess, maybe sound deadening. I don't really know. I'm going to put some sound deadening material behind that, and then put the insulation in, then put that, and then have wood. So, I mean, hopefully that'll help a little bit, I guess. I don't know. But that's just where I'm at right now. So now what I'm going to get started on doing is I'm going to go through and take out all the screws that I can find and try and get this plywood flooring up. That way I can start sanding down any rust and do the Rust-Oleum paint, and then we can really get started on building up the inside. And while the paint's drying, I'm actually going to start sanding down the outside of the bus, just in preparation to paint the bus. I don't know when that's going to happen, but since I can't work inside with the paint drying, I'm going to start on the outside and start sanding down the paint. So those are just some there's a few questions that I get asked over and over and over again that I just wanted to address in a video, so I wasn't sitting there typing the same thing out over and over again. So I hope that answered some of your guys' questions. And if you have more questions, feel free to leave them down below and I'll answer them the best that I can. And if there's just a ton of them, I may just do another video or address them in my next video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.